Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. All right, here we go, man. Season 6, the premiere, episode 1. Season 6, a real draft. Season 6, a real talk. Let's get to it right away. Last night's draft, listen, I was impressed by everybody. Everybody that participated in the draft last night, I thought they did a really good job of drafting last night. Simple as that. Although, we're in a league where season 14 as, the start. We never changed leagues. Season 6 real draft, but Game of Thrones continued into real draft where guys got loaded teams and just players everywhere, really. And I still thought guys did a great job of picking their needs and picking, what they needed. I complained a lot as picks went off the board, and that's always a good sign of guys doing the shit they need to do. So let's get into it. I will say this: I want to give a shout out to the NFC East, who's consistently been the most active division we've had from start to finish as of right now. All four were on, all four tore the draft up, all four put themselves in a situation to chase their division. And I think it's going to be some fireworks this season, man. I think the Cowboys is back. I think the football team is taking the next step. I think the Eagles have had a couple of back-to-back good situations in drafting and put pieces together. They might even be in a quarterback situation over there. And the Giants are moving pieces. I think if there was anybody that capitalized off of the offensive line group to get the type of talent you need to surround your quarterback up front for our protection wise, the Giants did a hell of a job at that. Um, but some big time key players and some really big tight ends that win this draft that I thought was real big players, man. Do me a favor, fellas. Don't just draft the players. Look at who you got. They're real players. Go to YouTube and check out highlights of the players you got. And do your own homework. When you do your own homework, you can come back to me and say, I think this happened. This guy can do a little bit of this, and I know things, right? And you telling me some things that I might have not caught and can help you in the build of your player. Uh, I love the off season. I love exactly the process of getting in the mold after crowning our Super Bowl champ. It's time to give a, a segment out, an interview out to our Super Bowl champion who has surpassed the Cardinals in the tie and won four straight, but did it in a spectacular way. 19 to 0, 20 and 0 in the regular season. I mean, 18 to 0 in the regular, 17 to 0, whatever the case may be, in the regular season, and then swept the playoffs and went undefeated in one of the hardest schedules that we all had to endure last season. So we got to give a shout out to him. I'm gonna bring him on for an interview at some point uh, to be able to talk to him about the growth and the fact that he's dominating and the fact that he is right now. I think he needs his flowers for that. We need to really celebrate. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to celebrate greatness, man. Um, and he's been everything but nothing less than greatness, man. He's really worked his ass off uh, in the short time of playing franchise mode. He's on a run, not only in our league, he's on a run in my other league, and he's on a run in other leagues. So he really has this game down pat. And that happens, man. Guys, certain discs come out, and you master that dish, you can take yourself and climb the ladder to success. Seriously. So shout out to Craig, top tier Craig, on what he's been doing this 22 and how he got those Bucks from stupid dummies all year. With that being said, make sure y'all tune into that interview, man. Tune into that one. That'll probably be my first gift show when we do the interview because it's well deserved. Um, Flat out well deserved. All right. When you're in the season of, let's get back to it, man. The first thing I want to talk about is division situation before I go into players. We're going to go division for division right now and see if we're going to see some excited football and things can change, you know? So let's start. We'll start with the AFC North. Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns. Now remember that. Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns. Browns is back. I already want to know. Bengals is 1-0. Guys are playing, so we're waiting on the Steelers and the Ravens to play their game. But let's conversate. Starting first in the AFC North. Is there anybody in this division that's going to be able to step on top of the Ravens and knock them off their high horse as division champions every year we played. Is there a team? I do think there's a team. I do think the Browns could do it. I think the Steelers are moving in the right direction, and I think the Bengals are starting to make that team his. So, but if there's a team that could push the Ravens in that division, we've seen it happen. The Browns. I ain't never seen a dog in my life that eats so many damn treats. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw you about three of them down there. Bang. Leave me the fuck alone. All right, so let's get into it for right now, man. We're gonna start with the team that finished in fourth in the division, and let's go to them and see what they got going on this offseason and what they've done to go into this season, um, ready to take their team to another level, right? So we'll go backwards. No, let's go forward. And this will be the second team on this list. Bang, let's get to it. Talk to me. All right, I expect you guys to have a conversation with me through my conversations. You know what I mean? The comment section is there for a reason. Participation turns into situations. You know what I'm saying? Now, so let's talk about this. Jason Butterfield, is this the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals? And I'm gonna go on a limb and say yes. Butterfield traveled. He was drafted by the Raiders, traded to the Dolphins, traded to the Bengals, and had a pretty solid season last year. Um, I think his next step is, you know, gelling with his team, gelling with his playmakers, and you know, one game at a time, trying to win ball games. Simple as that. So on 32, 4,000. Here's what you don't want to do: 68.1 QB rating. That gotta improve. He's already done it in week one, 81.6. All right, but the other stat line you're gonna have to change if you're going to take that next step as a quarterback is you can't throw more interceptions or touchdowns, and you damn sure can't double it. Right? So he had a really bad year in passing last year as far as interception to touchdown, touchdown to interception ratio. 26 touchdowns and 257 interceptions. That has to change if the Bengals want to get wins in the win column. That has to change. Now, I'll credit a lot of it to coming to a new system for Butterfield and also a lot of young new weapons that he has to get used to. Simple as that. What I do like, though, for the Bengals that I think can help Jason Butterfield a whole lot is their running back room. All right. I love Blake Corum. If you don't know who he is, Michigan running back. He'll be a dog for them this year, 22, in real life, on the football field, in the college world. But what I will tell you to do, take a look at highlights on this kid to see what they're dealing with in the backfield. I think they have a two-headed monster. The problem is they don't have power back guys over here. As I look at this, they did draft one. All right, so I'll change my conversation in a second. But let's talk about the guys that I think will get the ball, the bulk of the carries, right? Blake Corum, to me, could be a starter for this team, but you're not going to put him on the field as a starter over a Gavin Sawchuk, who came out the fastest receiver in just a draft ago, a year ago in the draft. He was the fastest running back in the draft. He's special. And if you build him, the first thing I'm gonna look at is player archetypes. So we know he's an elusive back. Now, if I'm the Bengals, my next motivation of building this guy isn't anything less than building him as a power back and a receiver back. Every upgrade I get from here on out, I would not touch elusive back. I will catch that receiving back and power back, get it as close to the elusive back as possible, to make him a complete running back, right? So that's just my opinion. But you're dealing with a speed demon, that can catch the ball out the backfield. I mean, 84 overall as a receiver is not bad at all in his second season. But let's deal with it. Let's see what he was able to produce in year one as the starter on his team. All right, so if you look at game one, he had 21 carries. 4.3 yards a pop ain't bad for a rookie. 281 carries, 1,214 yards. He was a 1,000-yard back, 11 touchdowns. The one thing he has to fix is the fumbling issue. You can't have 7 fumbles as a running back on 281 carries. But he's a rookie, so we can give him a pass there. I think he will take the next step. Obviously 4.9 yards, three broken tackles, no fumbles in this game. But this guy, to me, can be the guy that can help change some of the interceptions that's thrown or the turnovers that's thrown by this Bengals team. They need this running back to really be special and not just special as running the ball because he's going to hit the home run at any moment. You give him open space, he's a walking touchdown from anywhere on the field with that type of speed. I do think that the 29 receptions that he had last year at 7.4 yards a pop, if he can double that, you know what I'm saying, somewhere between 50 catches out of this guy out of the backfield, somewhere between 600 yards to 1,000 yards. If he can double this guy, 1,000 yard rusher, 1,000 yard receiver, I think this takes them into another dimension and allows them to become, a team that can win some ball games. Slow the process down some. Really allow your weapons to be exactly that for you. Take your time, read the field, figure out what you got in your playbook, understand that playbook, and understand what works best for your entire team. But we really like Gavin Sawchuk. I think this guy is a monster running back. I thought it was a great pickup. What I don't want to see happen is they waste a running back that honestly was a back that I was interested in drafting, and Blake Corum. Now I get it, 195 pounds. You're not going to better, freight train and take advantage of what this game allows with a freight train running back. But what I do know is this guy is a true third down back. He can be on the field in the receiving game and the running game. He can bring a lot to the table in that situation. I think the Bengals have to understand the weapon they have with this kid. He's a threat out the backfield for sure. And he's definitely probably the better blocker out of the two running backs they got. But he cannot. I mean, look, 10 carries in the game they played this week. That's beautiful, getting both your running backs involved like that. But he, 36 carries on the year, that can't happen. And if that's going to happen, he better have a lot of catches on the year. 28 catches out the backfield, cool. I think he could double that as well. Um, he has to be a weapon in your arsenal, and you have to understand what he can do. I do think he should be able to cut into about 100 carries. If he can stay somewhere between 300 carries with the starting running back and like 120 to 150 carries with him, I think they can change some things over there. Because if they're running the ball like that, they're not throwing the ball, and unless they're fumbling, they're not turning the ball over as much as they have been. And I think that's something that Seahound and this Bengals team should be working on, giving these backs carries and moving the chains and slowing the game down, giving your defense time to rest and reset themselves, and your offense to sustain drives. The only way to do that is through these two running backs. Now, you see two elusive running backs that I'm giving flowers to right now. But you can't ignore what they did in the draft. Khalid Jackson, LSU, 5'10", 220 pounds. Now, this is the back right here that I want to work on if I'm the Bengals. So my thing is, I want to work this back into a superstar. And then once that superstar happens, I'm going to do my damnedest to work him into an X Factor. And the way to do that is you got to play him. Now, I get it. You got two guys in front of him. I understand that. But I think the Bengals have the time to develop the growth, if that makes sense. They have to focus on him because what happens is tandem breakouts still happen, especially with us dropping players off the X Factors and superstars once they go 30 or above. When we do that, we make room for the scenario engine to still kick in. Now, with that being said, if I'm the Bengals coach, I'm getting this kid some way, somehow. You can do it the hard way and work on it, get him done, maybe wait for a gift to happen. You know what I'm saying? But you need this kid on freight train. So in my opinion, he has to be a X factor freight train running back because he's the only back on your roster that has the size to do it. And if you're going to sustain drives, you need a guy that can pound for pound get you 3 to 4 yards a pop. And has to be able to do it in between the tackles, right? It's all good to have that speed around the edge, but you're not in a situation where your speed is better than the team you playing. Everybody got speed everywhere, so you need that back that can be able to be a bruiser. Um, and in my opinion, I think they have it in Khalid Jackson. Uh, 95 stiff arm, 90 trucking, right? 88 carrying with the three hours up. He's elusive. He break tackle at 90 at a high rate, and he has really good strength at the running back position, 85. So if I'm the Bengals and Coach C. Howe, That's my work period. I'm trying to get this guy dealt with somehow, some way. How important, Max, is it to have a freight train running back?
No, I'm quiet.
Max, you heard me? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there, Max?
Yeah, I'm here.
How important is it to have a freight train running back?
Oh, and this
Hmm.
extremely important. Um, I think everybody in the league probably has is gonna have a running back on their X factor. Some people have two running backs on their X factor out of three.
It's important, man. You need that guy that can light up, get on fire, and fall forward every time he touches the ball until you tackle him for a loss. Now, we talked about weapons and we showed what his backfield could be. He has a three-headed monster in the backfield. We like it. But what I will say about Seahound, what he did was he took some receivers that, by name, nobody really knows who. We all know who Ja'Cory Brooks is, obviously. But Christian Leary played on the same team. He went Alabama strong and turned these guys into something. So I think he won there. And then he drafted his son last year with his first round pick, which gives him three receivers, in my opinion, that can do, that can win matchups. They can win some matchups. If you get the matchups right and you put him in situations to be able to win some of these matchups out there, he has the type of weapons that could do it. Self-built Ja'Cory Brooks, he put a lot of work in with him himself, and Christian Leary. Christian Leary was my surprise receiver because, you know, no one really knows who he is yet because he sat behind nothing but NFL talent at the receiver position. So we'll know who he is this year. If you've watched their spring game, he was the standout receiver in that spring game. And I think, being a veteran, a guy that played to a senior year in college, I think that helped him while he's in the league right now. And he's actually their best target at this point right now when you look at their receiver room. I like it. And I like it a lot. They went Miami here at 6'2", 179. They got a nice little superstar there. And then they pick up Shamar Porter at 6'4", 183 pounds out of Kentucky, who has really good speed, but he got a spring in his jump and that special catch at 98. So this guy is my red zone guy, and we're gonna get him the football and try to get him in situations right now. So this looked like a third round pick because we picked him early and he's still hitting. So that means he had to be a first, second, or third round pick. So let's see first what he is attribute wise. Superstar. That's a steal. I don't gotta look at nothing else. That's a steal right there. Mm-mm-mm. That's not a wait. That's not a wait situation. So again, I'm playing him in the red zone. Once we get to the 20-yard line going in, Porter's on the field, and we're gonna make shit happen. As we continue to look at their offense and what they got, Davis Allen at tight end from Clemson, good speed, 93, 93. You got Eric Cordova, who's been there forever, but he can mentor. And then you got Austin Stogner, the Oklahoma transfer to South Carolina, who I think is a monster at tight end as well. So I like his tight end room, three solid tight ends, right? And now let's look at the protection he has, right? Um, when you're looking at your left tackles, 94 overall, they green arrows up. Here's a development issue in my opinion, right? 90 on the drill, pass protection, 87, 84. Knock it off, bro. I'm on the show. Leave the cat alone. Knock it off. Uh, I just think a guy at 28 years old should already be at this point 99 now. Now he should be a 99 overall. He's only a 91, so you're really not looking at a strong line on the left side right now. Left tackle's not that strong. He needs some help there. They do got a first year real draft player here and Daniel, right? But they need help here in my opinion. And me personally, I'm gonna look in between voice. I'm gonna figure out which one of these two can start because they pretty much got the same overall now as a 28-year-old. So I'll probably wipe my hands with voice. I would think he's a wasted talent. I would wipe my hands with him. So I do think they need help at that left tackle position. When you look at the guards, they might even have their left tackle sitting at guard right here. They got three solid ass dogs at left tackle. So obviously, when I'm looking at his roster, the first thing I see is the left tackles, but doesn't necessarily mean those guys are actually starting because you got three guys that got 98 or above wearing overall, and two of them don't even have the green arrows there, so that's their true overall. And then Broly is still there. At 32 years old, he's still a monster. Linemen play a little longer than the rest of the guys that turn 30 and above. So let's look at the center position. We strong here with Spencer Boston. We do got a second-year player that's underneath him, so they got good depth there. Wanya Morris, 99 out. Zach Zincher sitting here 4 years in, 93 overall. Like that at right tackle. So I like the line now. Now that I see it, it picked up Rasheed Walker. Someone must have let him go. Uh, ain't that T's lineman?
Yes. Excuse me. Yes.
All right. So now that you looked at the entire offensive line, do we think the Bengals have a protection problem? I don't think they really do. I think if they mix and match these linemen and get the right got five on the field, I think they could be in a good situation. Now on the defensive side of things, they have a monster DN in Dallas Turner. Very, very good Alabama player. And his rookie year last year in real life, in the 2021 season, he was really a standout. He turned himself into a superstar for Alabama's defense, and I think he's a superstar over here as well. I mean, come on, bro. Development into 97 speed, 97 excel. This guy's going to be a hammer, a nail. He's going to be a finesse guy. It's going to really be hard to do too much of anything on him. Let's just take a look at one of his best players on his team. I don't know why he don't got the 15 on him. And look at his last year stats: 36, 5, 7.5. Pretty solid. I think he's going to have an explosive year this year. I think. Let's see, did he do anything in game one? I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's going to turn himself into one of those guys we're talking about at the end of the year as one of the best D linemen in the league. He has the potential to do it. He has the speed to do it. He has the build, the size. He has everything you need to be able to be that type of player. So let me one more time. Let me look at the stats real fast. Just want to see what he did in week one. One tackle in week one. All right, Dallas, don't make me look like a fool. Get it together over there. All right, solid backup. I like the backup as well. Looking at the right ends, Jose is still mentoring, and then they picked up Samuel M. Pemba. This is an athlete, Max. We know who this guy is. This guy is a tight end. This guy is a defensive end. This guy, he can play the game. I even think he can play outside linebacker. Knock it off. Leave the cat alone before I send your ass downstairs. Najee done got you started. Leave him alone. All right. This is an IMG guy, IMG Academy. Anybody knows that? That's a football factory. And he's a dog. This is a dog. And what you see here is a Miami guy drafting a Miami guy. We got four of them in the league. If they see them, they getting them, right? No Miami players are safe in the league with four guys from Miami sitting in the league. I really like this guy. I really like this pick. I mean, one of the best defensive ends in the draft. Already 89 overall with the green arrows up. But look at the true speed, 93, 93. He comes in at 85 and above, so he's way above average. He's good at all his core attributes. This kid can really come in and really be a day one starter for him. I would assume he is. And you could do multiple things with this guy, man. You can literally line him up and allow him to play outside linebacker for you as well. So I really like what they got here. This guy can really help Dallas Turner be the superstar we expected him to be. They can get that out of him. If they can get him up to speed fast and catch up to the speed of the NFL or speed of game or real draft league, I think this player right here in year one, you're probably not going to see the stats, right? You're not going to see the stats show how good he really going to be this year. But if things go the way I see it going, I think Dallas Turner will benefit from a player opposite of him like this. I mean, you got two guys 93, over 90 speed coming off the edges right now. So that it's legit speed and power coming off the edges with their edge rush right now. So we like it. I love the pick. The pick was great. My question is, was this his first round pick? Yes, it was. At pick nine, it's a hell of a pick at pick nine. Good shit. All right, so as we go looking at the D tackle position, let's see what we got. We got Will Canty here, he's 28 years old. But they got some good look. Another Miami kid. They got some good D. Honestly, they really got some good D tackles. Some of them are still in development mode. I would think Maisie Smith should be a trade piece, but the problem with Maisie in 4 years, a 91 overall, which is lower than that, he's an 89 true. I think he's behind schedule of development wise right now. Like he should be a little bit better than that. Um, so if I'm him, I'm probably trying to trade him. Maybe not Will Canty at 20 years old, maybe not. But Hunt is here, and Purion Winfrey is here as well, and I think they are capable D tackles with really good speed and a good size. They're not monster size guys, but they I call it the Warren Sapp effect. They got that type of size to them with speed, and they could do some things there. So they're not shabby there. They got pretty good solid situation. They go Alabama again. Will Anderson from the first draft class. I mean, monster at outside linebacker. John Lewis is his backup. We're looking at Skalowski from Clemson. They got Moses Walker. So they got, to me, two solid linebackers. The only problem I see with these linebackers is speed. They better be great at what they do, because at this point now, if you don't got a 90 speed or above linebacker, guys got defensive linemen running this speed and faster than that. So they better be technicians, if that makes sense. Like they better be able to make up for not having 90 plus speed and everything else. And if you look at the core attributes, they kind of do. The one thing they're lacking, is their awareness and play rec. And in my opinion, that's going to hurt you. Guys that are 5 years in and they only got 82 awareness, 82 play rec. And another kid, this kid can be worked on. He's only 1 year in. You got to work there though. If I'm the Bengals, maybe until I finish looking at it, maybe I'm looking for a linebacker here too. If I'm the Bengals, I'm going to go get Cedric Kidd from the Colts. You got a guy that's 29, 1 year rental, maybe give him a 7th round pick, 6th round pick for him, with 95 speed and above, 99 overall. You get a 1 year rental with that guy to help you develop these guys right here and make up for the speed that they lack in, because this will hurt you in games when you play. What are you mad about? Calm down. So, in my opinion, they need to get faster there. And if you look at all their linebackers, I mean, they have one guy that's a 90 or above speed wise. So, right. So these guys need, to me, they need help at that linebacker level in the worst way. So if you're a guy that got linebackers and too many of them, um, I would probably holler at the Bengals. They need help there. Um, I think the D line is solid. I think they have a superstar and an up and coming superstar in the making, but the linebacker core is going to be a lot of stress on these guys. Here's why. In this division, you're dealing with Anthony Iverson. You're dealing with what's the quarterback that just got picked up by the Steelers? Um, Davis, another dual threat quarterback with 90 plus speed. I mean, even in Cleveland, their quarterback is a dual threat guy. So they got these linebackers. You better make up with it with sub safeties, because these linebackers is not catching. Especially Anthony Iverson. You're not catching him. If I take off, they can't spy me. You can sit and spy me with these guys, and I'm running by them. So they got to get faster at the linebacker level. Now let's look at the DBs and see what we're looking at. All right, so Terrence Wooten is 28, but he's still the veteran of the class over here. They got Damari Tate, Florida State. I love that pick. As you look at his development, it seemed like he on course a little bit, 93 overall. Uh, Jake Alon Johnson. I mean, he got some really big names, especially with these two right here, Tate and Johnson. They big names. They got rookie Tayon Holloway, 88 overall, green arrows up. You're looking at man, press, and zone. Pretty solid for a guy that's 20 years old. Toriano Pry, in my opinion, could develop into their best corner. So they got depth at the cornerback position, and they drafted Jaden Mickey as well from Notre Dame. They got some depth. They got some development still to do with these corners, but they got corners that they could put into the fire and let them play. Man, they got to better grow up fast. That's all it comes down to. They're very young in the cornerback room. Now let's look at their safety play. Kamari Ramsey, somebody that I really like overall wise. UCLA, 95 speed, 93 excel, solid. I really like him. They picked up Jordan Castell from Florida, 6'3", 215, and this is what I was talking about. Now they have a sub linebacker, sub safety that can play the sub linebacker position with the speed that they need down there at that linebacker position. Now, with that being said, what type of hit power this guy got? Looking at tackling and 93 hit power. Yep. So that's a win in my opinion, and I'm playing him as sub linebacker and all my nickel and dime packages because I think they need that type of speed, especially for the division they in right now. But far as free safeties, they got the speed and talent. These guys are really ahead of their time when it comes down to man zones and things like that. Like I think they're going to be a good situation to have right now. You're looking at their strong safety. They got Ace Sanders that they got from the Giants. I like him. That's like a little baby honey badger. And then they picked up Makari Vickers, who good speed as well. But he's a project. He's a guy that you got to develop before you can put him on the field. He's on the field right now. You're going to be in situations and woo babies all day because he's just not ready yet, not smart enough, and not ready to play really. Although he has 86 green hours up, he's not going to be smart enough to really cover some of the receivers in this division. So when you look at the Bengals as a whole, you see the development, you see those guys getting their guys in, and you see some holes. You see things that they need to fix and get fixed in a hurry for them to be successful. But we like their team. I do think they can play a better year. I think their record will be better, and it comes down to how they play offensively. Can they sustain drives and keep their defense off the field more than they should be? If they can do that, I think they can fight to not finish in fourth place in this division. If they really stay at it and do what I think they can possibly do, especially if Dallas Turner has that superstar season, I think these guys could finish third in the division this year. So that's the Bengals. Now let's go take a look at the Browns, and only because the Browns had to take a season off, they finished in fourth place. So because they're in fourth place, we're going to talk about them right now, and let's look at their build. The one good thing about being in fourth place all year, when you have to take the year off, you're in a situation where you're going to benefit because every pick you had was a top five pick, so you're going to benefit from it. And when you have a top five pick, you better not be the type of guy that draft your first and second round and then disappear. If you got a top five pick, you better draft every pick because you're getting talent, first round talent, second round talent. You're getting the best. You're getting the pick of the litter pretty much because you get to pick the best players in each round before anybody else does. Now, Matt Corral, I think Matt Corral is their quarterback. I like him at quarterback. Although they got another quarterback, I think if I'm the Browns, I'm going to go get me a veteran out of free agency, and I'm trading him to whoever's looking for a dual threat quarterback. I don't think this quarterback warrants. I mean, you can let him go through training camp, and which they did, preseason, which they did. But does he win the game? You know what I'm saying? I mean, does he win the starting lineup? Does he win the starting job? I don't think he has the attributes. It's not nothing that I look at this guy. I think he's a special quarterback. He's the third best quarterback in the draft. I think he is a special quarterback, but I don't think he's better than Matt Corral. So, in my opinion, I will go get a veteran out of free agency and trade him to anybody that needs a quarterback right now. And believe it or not, there's guys that's needing quarterbacks right now. So that's the first thing stand for. Now, with that being said, Matt Corral's your guy. How do you take Matt Corral to the next level? You cannot crucify Matt Corral's season last year. You can't look at his season and say, ah. What you got to do is ignore the fact that his quarterback is probably had a bad season last year, and the reason why is he didn't play his games. He wasn't available to play last season. So what that does is that's not going to give you true stats on what you're dealing with at all, right? So if I'm him, you take it for a grain of salt, or whatever it is. You don't worry about it, and you just deal with what you can do now. But as a guy that's judging the team right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the last full season he actually played. I do think Matt Corral was making that necessary steps that he had to make to be able to get this team back into the playoffs and have them, trying to be a threat in the AFC North and a threat overall in the AFC. Um, I do think they have their man. This is not a quarterback, in my opinion, that you should be looking at to get rid of. And even in computer games, he didn't have a bad year. I mean, he threw 35 interceptions, 31 touchdowns, but that's a guy that's not playing the games, right? And the year before that, he went. To me, I thought he played really well. 99 rating, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, to 41 picks. I thought he played pretty well. The one thing you want to see change is he can't come out of seasons with 52 sacks, 56 sacks, even last year 76 sacks, and then game one he had six. So either that's a lineman problem or he's holding the ball too long. So what is it, Matt Corral? Do you have a protection problem or you're holding the ball too long? Whatever it is, the Browns and Coach Junior can fix it himself, right? You can fix it with the protection, or you can fix it with the mechanics of how you throwing the football, or the things you're doing. Especially with your West Coast offense, the whole thing of the West Coast offense is get the ball out fast. There's no way you should be getting sacked 6 times in one game. That got to change. All right, and the running back room. Here we go. Tony Mooney is getting long in the tooth, but Tony Mooney has been, the guy over here. He's been the guy that really has this, team the way it is. The problem is he's been such the guy. We never really got to see Brian Robinson Jr., who was one of the best running backs in 2022 draft class, really get going for this team, right? So when we look at it, I don't know if Brian's the starter yet, full time starter yet. I would think so now. Uh, I would think so now. 228 carries, didn't touch 1,000 yards, but had double digit touchdowns. Now remember, this is not himself playing these games, so he would have been 1,000 yard back for sure. But what we do know is 81 carries, 46 carries, 51 carries, and 16 as a rookie. He hasn't been productive. Now it goes a positive and a negative about not being productive. One, he still got tread on his tires, but two, he doesn't have the experience in game to better let us know if he's the guy or not. Um, and as long as Tony Mooney is on his roster, I don't know how much of a chance would he get to show us that. But what you're dealing with is, again, one of the best running backs of his draft class, right? And if you don't get him going this season, we're going to look at this guy as a bust. Especially when they just drafted Trayon Webb from Florida. We like this. Looking at another 6'1", 230-pound running back with really good speed for his size, great acceleration, great agility and change of direction, good strength. But the break tackle, truck, and the stiff arms are 94 across the board. He can really come in and make it hard for Brian Robinson. So my question would be, you have Tony Mooney at 29 years old, so you still have him for a year on X Factor before he has to drop to a superstar at least. And then you have the young running back coming up. Let's see what he's dealing with. Now he's a star, so if you want to work him, you better start playing him now. See if he get any carries. I know the Browns have that sit your guys, hit rookies. He's not big on playing his rookies unless he have to. If they can redshirt, he's going to redshirt them. But hear me out. Me, this is what I'm doing. I might put it out there to see if anybody's interested in Brian Robinson Jr. He's only 25, and he still has a lot of legs left, right? And I'm seeing if anybody's willing to trade me for him. And I'm gonna work Tony Moody. We know he's proven, and I'm gonna develop Trayon Webb in the process. And if you can get that done over here, you can get some real good capital for Brian Robinson, especially somebody looking for a big back with experience that they can bring in and play right away. And don't have to worry about a guy getting developed. Um, I think that makes sense. 100. I think it really makes sense if you can find it. If not, you got to ride or die with the wheels of Brian Robinson Jr. But I think you can find a suitor for him and work on Moody. Let Moody be your guy, but work on Webb in the process of why Moody's the guy. When you're playing big games, you know he can win the game for you, or he can be that guy for you. You want Webb in development stage on the field and get him to X Factor as soon as possible, in my opinion. Look at the receiver room. I like the receiver room. They traded me last year for Jordan Addison, who was one of the top receivers in his draft class. And they got a lot of good speed here at the receiver position. Um, I really like their receiver room, and they have the weapons to really play their offense that they like to do because a lot of these guys can run after the catch. And when you're in that West Coast offense, that Bill Walsh offense, you need receivers that can make plays with the ball in their hand, and they have it. So I like their receivers. Actual Matt Corral should be spoiled with this type of speed and talent. Who steps up for Anthony Schwartz though? Anthony Schwartz was the guy for years over here. Is it Jordan Addison now that they brought him in, and now they get a chance to play a full season with Jordan Addison? Jordan is excited. You know, he said he got the Chargers drafted him, traded him to the Ravens, and the Ravens really never used him, and he felt like he was being slighted over there, and that he had way more to offer than what the Ravens were allowing him to produce over there. I think he's the number one receiver on this roster, and I'm putting all my eggs in this guy's basket for sure. But they got the talent at the receiver position. And look at the tight end, same thing. Zach Wheatley was the number one pick in his draft class. They're solid there. They got three tight ends that they can completely scheme around. Right now, why is your quarterback getting sacked so much? Is it the line play? Roderick Jones, 23, 97 overall. That's perfect. They got the rookie they just brought in, 20 years old, with a 92 overall as well. We're looking at Kenyon Green's here, 99. They got good linemen here, so I'm trying to figure out the answer to why he's getting sacked all out. I mean, look at this. We're looking at good linemen. Um, yes, sir. Look at that. Oh my God. All right, so maybe some help here. But they got superstars on down at every level of their line, right? And my thing is, I would say if the right tackles are your issue and sacks, I still blame the quarterback for holding the ball too long, especially in that West Coast offense. So I don't really think they're in the if they have a situation with protection. I think they have a situation with the quarterback holding the ball a little too long. They got to get the ball out quicker. Just that it got to be a 1, 2, 3 go. It got to be a quick read. 1, 2 throw. 1, 2, 3 throw. 1, 2, 3, 4 throw. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the 5, you better be taking off. So that's my opinion on their offense. Defensively, who do we bring in to become dogs on your front four? All right, so you're dealing with, some young talent, uh, 6'4", 290. I mean, he got D tackle size and D tackle speed. Jared Knox, 29 years old. You got one more year with this kid, so we got to get better on that D line, in my opinion. And I don't think they invested in their D line at all, because to me, I don't see anything on that front four right now that scare me at the defense end. So the edge rushers right now scare me. But they can make up with that with really good linebacker play. So we'll see. But right now, I'm not looking at none of these DNs, right or left, as threats at all uh, that I'm worrying about, right? So he got to get work there. Stephen McQueen, 27. They got Damon Payne. And we're looking at, I mean, again, same thing here as well. I'm not threatened by that. They had a better D line a couple of years ago. When they first took this team over, they were loaded. I think they need to get themselves back to that. Um, they have to invest in their D line right now. Their front four, to me, isn't something. I think this can hurt them in games. I think when you play those teams that's going to just wear you down quarter for quarter. By the time you get to the fourth quarter, these guys are just not it. Um, Now, if they're solid and they do their job, guys, maybe 325, 327, 346, and then the little guy they just drafted at 294 pounds. But if you look at these big guys, if they might not ask their D linemen to make plays, they might ask their D linemen to be assignment D linemen, clog up holes, do your job, and let the linebackers swarm. Um, so before I condemn him for not having at least a guy that we can look at and be like dog as a pass rusher, I'm not sure if this is it. Hold on, bro. We're not doing that right now. Give me a second, cuz. So the only way he can make up for that is that linebacker core being really, really good. And I think over the last couple of seasons, the one thing the Browns have been doing is they cleaned that linebacker room up. In previous seasons, that was their weak point. Their linebackers was the weak point of their defense. And over the last 4 seasons, they changed that tremendously. And it starts right here. I don't even got to go no further than the left outside linebackers. Look at it. This is what the Bengals lack: speed. Now look at the age on these guys, and look at the upside that they got, and then look at the speed. So now when you lining up at the linebacker level and you playing at Anthony Iverson, you have the guys that can chase him down. Guys that can chase him down. C.J. Hicks, number one linebacker in his draft class, 3 drafts ago, right? You got Malik Bryant. They just got him this year, 6'3", 250 from Miami, 94 speed, 94 excel. And then Jalen Walker, they drafted last year with 93 speed, 94. And that's just the left outside linebackers. You look at the middle right now, you're looking at Trenton Simpson, the number one middle linebacker in his draft class, 5 drafts ago, 93, 95. We're looking at a dog, right? And then you're looking at Asante, Tristan Sinclair, and then they just picked up Averill Reese from Ohio State, 90 speed, 90 excel. Project. This is a guy that needs to develop, but you probably could find some. You don't need to force him on the field when your left outside linebackers look like this. They are loaded at linebacker right now. They got Dalton Holloway, and then they got the safety turned D lineman. I mean linebacker 6'3", 217, Jeremy Kilgore. All right, from left outside linebacker to middle, they got everything they need in just those 2 positions, and they're not bad here either. Um, Again, when I first said their D line, if they're assignment D linemen, where they just, they're asked to just take on blockers for those linebackers to swarm around, if that's the defense he's playing, then he has the right. He don't have to spend money and invest in that type of D line because he's not asking his D linemen to be guys to be 15 sacks, 20 sack guys. He's asking those guys to keep his linebackers clean and getting to the ball carriers or on blitzes, getting through gaps. And we got the speed to do that at the linebacker level. So they're really solid there. Let's look at the DBs real fast. You're looking at Keem Dent, really good dog. They picked up KJ Atwater out of free agency from the Broncos. Hedrion Smith, good speed, good size. You got Braden Felix, 27 years old, picked up out of free agency. You got Jahari Rogers, 94 speed, 95 excel. And then AJ Harris from Florida, another young corner, 94 speed, 94 excel. So they got the cornerback play. Some of it needs to be developed, but other than that, they have good play. They got veterans they picked up out of free agency and guys they drafted or got, that goes forward with this team. Raymond Reyes can play sub linebacker. That gives you more speed at that linebacker level. You got Tyson Anderson, who's a fucking speed demon at 25 years old. They got it, man. They got some secondary pieces over here. Michael McDonald comes from he's the 30-year-old. He comes from the Falcons team. Isaiah Sands has been a dog since he's been in the league. He's another guy, and they picked up Von Savage out of free agency. So whether they got abilities or not, they still got really good players over here to complement some of that young talent in that secondary. I like what the Browns look like. They got a really clean roster, um, and I think they can win ball games. They just stay to it. Like you got to stop getting sacked the way you getting sacked, and allow. I do think you need to find out who your running back is going to be and who he is, and let him get busy alone. Because to have for the West Coast offense to be successful, you do have to have a run game. Not only do you have to have a run game, you have to have receivers in the backfield. These guys got to catch the ball at the backfield. So I like the Browns and what they can do over there. I'm not going to go super in depth with the Steelers because he didn't participate in the offseason. Um, so I'm not going to be as long on this team though. But I do think Demetrius Davis in his second season is a dual threat. They run a pistol offense for sure over here. This is the second season. He got to show up and show off. Simple as that. And their running back game. I mean, Travion Henderson, Ohio State's running back. We all know who this kid is. What's up? When we gonna see him be that guy? You know what I'm saying? Quentin Joyner, good speed, 5'10", 210. really good speed, really good attributes with break tackles and trucking and things like that. So to me, they got it. I mean, even Herschel Walker's still a dog over there. They got a three-headed monster. But to me, it's all about Travion Henderson. You don't draft him in the top 10 and don't make him that guy for you. Simple as that. You got to give him the ball. And you got to let him use what he got, his talent-wise, and let that speed do what it do. At the receiver level, I mean, these guys been over here for a while. Pierce, you got Brinkley, Shelton, solid. Jalen Brown's picked up. Now, this was in the first receiver in the draft. Was he the number one receiver in the draft? I mean, he was speed demon. This is a great fucking pick. That happened in this situation. I think they got me. Trey Palmer's a nice dog. Lucas, nice. I mean, they have weapons to really, really, scare some teams, man, because they started off 5-1 last year, and they did that on the back of that quarterback fit that their system, what they like to do. If they could find a way to get these receivers to be dangerous, like that tight end is dangerous over here. They could do that with this receiver core and find maybe one or two guys that can really, really, one that can blow the top off the defense. Hint, hint, Jalen Brown. One guy that could be a possession guy. Alec Pierce, and then Bonkley can be your do it all, maybe slot, a little bit of everything with pieces, right? You got the three pieces. If you could make that shit work, figure it out in that pistol offense, this team can be really dangerous, especially at the tight end level. Sharp was a dog picked in the first overall pick. Then they come back and get Eric All, another tight end that they picked first overall. So they're solid at the tight end position. They can get sticky, especially when you play the Steelers. You remember the person is hard to stop for that team is Shannon Sharp. Now they got two of them, so let's see how that works out. Line wise, I'm not gonna stay real long on that line. I'm just gonna look through it. They do got 90s and above the board. I like it. I want to go to where I think their strength became because they spent major draft picks on defense. Thibodeau's here, right? That's your left end. Then you get one of the best ends on the other side, and Marvin Jones Jr. And PJ's been a dog his entire career, and now he's 32. Now you got Marvin Jr. Look at this, 93, 94 come up the edge. Go back to Thibodeau, dog. At the D tackles position, Jordan Williams has been that man child at 31. Now, but you got Walter Nolan, the number one defensive tackle in his draft class, and he's ready to go right now. Like he's pretty much better than Jordan Williams right now. So I like what they got here. They're solid there. Left outside linebacker N'Kobe Dean's here. Look at the speed on that. You think you're running away from anybody with your quarterback? Yeah, right. Just look at the linebacker level. Speed kills, right? They have it. It ain't a motherfucker slow over there at all. And then in the secondary, they started. You got Ray McDonald, Rudy McDonald over there, right? Julian Barnett. Got to get some ability guy, Raymond Henderson. Okay, we like him. Willie Washington, good speed. And got some young boys that got to get developed. So good talent though, right? So they good talent here, secondary. I know they lost a big time safety, but I like Jamie Robinson. Smoke Monday was traded from the Cowboys here as well. Isaiah Pitts is a guy that they use on ability wise. He's been a dog for them, but then they have a replacement right under him. So I like the Steelers. I think the Steelers, if they're active, they can take the next step. I don't know if they're ready to be a second place team yet, but I do think they have the pieces to continue to develop their system offensively and defensively. All right, so now that leaves us to the Ravens, and at this point we've been seeing the same faces on the Ravens teams being on this roster. They haven't really been going crazy. We just made a trade today for Jaden Rashada, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna if Anthony Iverson's going to be safe, to be honest with you. I really like this kid. I keep staring at his highlights and just think he's a monster. All right, but we needed a backup. We traded C.J. Stroud to the Cowboys, and we missed our guy in the draft, and we had the opportunity to pick him in the third round, and we went with a big left tackle, and we missed him. But having firepower and having the type of talent I got, I can make moves after the draft easy because I got the pieces to do it. So we like our quarterback room now. In all actuality, he's not taking Anthony Iverson's job. But I would like to push the envelope. He shit the bed last season. At the end of the year, we need him to step up and be able to win when it counts. Simple as that, right? We love our running back room. We think we have one of the best running back rooms in the league. And guys haven't even got a chance to see Malik Brown yet because he redshirted all last year. put on a highlight, check him out, know why he's on this Ravens team, and we use all our backs. So we're going to continue this process of using our backs. As you can see, we want Malik Brown to be a receiver out the backfield, right? And then we want to sit here and we want to stay comfortable, right? If in any other situation, that power back would not be at 86 right now and 94 and 95 there. But we don't care for him to be a power back. We wanted to build him as a receiver and an elusive back, and we did exactly that because that's what we want to use him at. When you're building your running backs, they don't have to be 220 pounds to have freight train on them. They just have to be tied or even. See that? When that happens, you can put your backs on freight training, which you need, and that's just what we did. So I like my backfield. I think I got two guys in the backfield that could be 1,000-yard rushers at any time. I got two guys in the backfield that could be 2,000-yard rushers at any time. So we like it there. Our fullback always been solid in Alex the Shield, so we love him. The receiver room, well, might be crowded, but we had 1,000-yard receiver here, double-digit touchdown guy last year, 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdown, 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdown, 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdowns. Red shirt guy who played punt returner, kick returner, and he'll do exactly that again this year. Play punt returner, kick returner. Our issue is, and this is a good issue to have in the Baltimore Ravens, does Bond earn his way into a starting role, and does that save George Pickens as a guy that might be a guy, man, looking out, might be a move in Baltimore soon where George Pickens is not on this roster. But we like our receiving room. What I'm learning is packages is everything. Meaning like when I'm on the field, different matchups, different guys on the field to do different things for you. Understand what your ability guys are, what they can do with their abilities, and put them in those situations when you're play calling. And that's what we're learning to do with these guys. That's why we was able to have multiple guys with 1,000 yards at that receiving position. Now, a position we invested in completely was here. I have two 30-year-olds on my team. Chip Parker is one of them. Syracuse is the other. We're going to keep Chip Parker here as a superstar, um, right? But he's not our starter. He plays a little bit of everything. He's an H back for sure. We have one of the best tight ends in the league in Darnell Washington. Jatavion Sanders never really got to see the field. He's a our third tight end, and he's only on the field in really three tight end set situations. But we drafted a guy to replace Chip Parker and Riley Williams. And because we drafted Riley Williams, this guy's a flat out dog, flat out athlete. We want to get him going. Now he'll redshirt this year, but we think he's our future. Him and DW together, we think they're our future. Offensive line, move Pat Falk from right tackle to left tackle this year. At 31, we're moving him to the left tackle to mentor Vernon Hillhouse. I mean, this is going to be our starting left tackle by the time next season end up here. And, an animal, 6'8", 360 pounds. So look, how do y'all don't draft this guy and let me get him in the third round? And you're looking at a guy that comes in the league at 6'8", 360 pounds, 83
So
speed,
you don't
84 excel,
understand
86 change of direction.
the real
We're
appeal of
looking
the
at 75 change of direction, 86 agility, 90 across the board and blocking. And his linemen throughout this whole league, the Giants got 12 of them, I think. They were there. Nobody been really killing the line, and then we had to run off with the line. But I think this was a steal. I think this is a guy that really can be a big piece because he can play guard or tackle for us at any moment. So we're strong on the line. We love our line, backups and starters. That's the strength of our team. Defensively, we're looking for Peter Woods to take the next step. He did have 10 sacks last year as a rookie. We're waiting for this guy to be who he is. You don't know who Peter Woods is, go look at his highlights. Nolan Smith is also getting into the role of playing and splitting time as a pass rusher. We want to be too deep at our defensive ends, and we are. This kid will never see the field for this year at all. He'll redshirt, and then it'll be the Keyshawn Peppers show as he continues to get older. At the D tackle position, we're four deep here, three now. Syracuse is pretty much not going. Rest in peace, Syracuse too. Tony Syracuse. I just saw that he passed away. Rest in peace, Tony Syracuse. He gonna die on this roster. No pun intended. Rest in peace, but he ain't going nowhere. We're gonna keep him. Brian Breezy is our dog. Elliot Donald surprises last year. He plays defensive end and the tackle. Um, And I think that worked out for us last year. So here's the thing, and this is what we love about our D line. Um, when you have multiple D linemen that can provide these type of stat lines, 23 tackle for losses. He only had 6.5 sacks from 13 the year before, but I'll take these 23 tackle for losses over the sacks at the D tackle position. And this is our actual starting D tackle this year, but they all rotated in split time. I'm not going to show you Syracuse stats, but he contributed in that as well. Eric Donald playing the second D tackle for the most part. This is what gave us, a situation where we can absolutely move people. 19 tackle for loss and 7.5 sacks. And then not for nothing, our left one of our defensive ends had almost 28 tackle for losses. And I think when our D line is getting pressure like that, they have the speed to run around. They can do some things. Some of them got linebacker speed, and that's the game plan. Get them fast. While y'all guys keep hitting gifts, y'all two speed, two excels on your receivers and running backs all game. I mean, in corners all day, I'm putting them on D line, man. And that's the game right now, right? Get that speed to run around. Adam Anderson is his second year as a starter, but been on our roster since year one of real draft. He's now the starter, and he played pretty solid last year. He didn't have the numbers I would like him to have, but I mean, look at it. I mean, we probably got the best linebacker core in the league right now, and it's not by far because it's a really good linebacker core in the league. But I think speed wise, we might be topping everybody at this point. With the Cowboys and the Bucks being right behind it. Deron Adams, I love him. He's a do-it-all guy. Hal Perkins is a great player. We drafted D. Gabriel Floyd, to me, one of the best linebackers in the draft. He came in '94. Up until the couple of linemen got picked, he had the second highest overall in the draft. It was the tight end for the football team, and then it was him at '94 overall. So we feel like we got a winner there, a guy that we have to play. He doesn't have to start, but he has to play this year. Junkies still here. Um, yeah, so we just traded a DN to get a linebacker to get that quarterback. In our cornerback room, we did get rid of a big piece in Bobby Teller, but we still Derek Stingley, Jalen Jones, Travis Hunter. So we need Will Johnson and Travis Hunter to step up. Jalen Jones to step up in our slots now because we're losing a big piece in Bobby Teller, who was really, really a great slot corner for us at 6'4". And then our safety play, we think, we're really hats off for the safety play. We're flying and we got a good secondary and we understand that. But as good as the secondary is, it hasn't got us over the hump. I mean, we lost in a division round this year, lost in 3 straight Super Bowls. So we got to get it done over here. We got the talent to get it done. I think we also picked up in a trade Derek Williams, a really good safety. To me, he's the second best safety in the draft outside of Khalid Downs. He's the next guy. But the roster is together. I'm not playing a lot of new pieces, so my team has been jailed. So when we match up and you say, I don't know what the fuck, well, I'm not playing too many new players. These guys have been playing together for a while, and then we slowly bring our young guys in now because we're at that stage where we can. So when we might bring our first round pick might be a player, and he's going to play, all right? But he doesn't have to be a player to play. He can redshirt this year and we'll be fine. And if he steps up and play outside of his realm and we play like an alien, then we're trading somebody, and that's just the goal. I don't think the Browns, don't think the Steelers, and I don't think the Bengals are ready to dethrone us or decrown us, whatever you want to say. I do think that we can win the division again. I'm not trying to say I sound arrogant. I just don't think they're ready to be able to beat our Ravens team. We are one of the best football teams in the league, so let's just not ignore that. We are one of the best football teams in the league on paper and playing games. So it takes a lot. You got to be really. I mean, the Browns is the only team in my division that can really put me in a situation where he can split with me and beat me at any moment. And even that is very hard to do. So as long as this team is on the field and we're not really pitting 4 and 5 new starters on the field, I think we're in a good situation. We should always be in it at the end. But as you can see, any given advance, a person can win or lose to anybody in this league because I think the league is just that good, and that's the coach's credit. All right, so that's the AFC North. Now, I'm not going to do that for every division. I will, but not on this show. All right. What I will do is let's talk about some of the big players that came out from positions, right? I do want to go running back first. At the quarterback level, it was four quarterbacks in that draft that I think that can go to somebody and play, for sure. The problem is two of the best are on teams that already have legit quarterbacks. So, that's going to be hard to see what they can do. If they can, maybe they can force the starters into like backup roles. I don't know. I do think the Eagles have a situation. He's falling in love with Sam Horn over there. That was who I wanted really bad. And I slept on him. I had the opportunity to get him in round three. And I think Sam Horn is not ready to play over DC, but I think as a coach, you have to play the guy you like. And in real draft, if you guys don't draft players you actually like, and what happens is the longer you're in real draft, you'll start to see this trend set. You'll start to see every year the same, the players come out, different draft, and all the same players we've been pitting out are going to come out every time we do real draft. And you're going to start to draft the guys you like, that you had fun with, that you stepped with, that you had awards with, that played big for you. You're going to pick those guys. And when you do, you start to build around that talent, and that's what happens. That's what real draft is about. Looking at the players, finding out what they are in real life, what they can really do in real life, where they really going, and then what do they do for you on the field. So when you look at, some of these players, some of you guys are going to fall, and I think that's what the Eagles is dealing with when it comes down to Sam Horn. You put him in practice mode, watch his highlights, and it's making it hard to keep, look at D. Thomas and be like, you're not even a real player. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a Game of Thrones guy. I made your storyline. I made you who you are. I made your name. I gave you your life. But the kid that I got opportunity to play behind you that I really like, he's a real life guy that I'm going to actually be watching on Saturdays. And it's hard to keep that guy off the field. It's just it's that simple, right? So, yeah, I don't know if we'll see the Eagles in that situation. So, talking about it because quarterback wise, I think there's three or four of them that can actually play. But I do think two of them will end up playing, and it's not the best two. All right, so you said check my phone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did tell him 9 o'clock. All right, I've been on for an hour. This is what we're going to do. We're going to come back. I'm going to come back. I got a game to play. I'm missing my game. I'm 13 minutes late, and I got till 9:30 before he could take the first win. So I'm going to come back. Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. I'm mad because we got a lot of people watching right now. We're going to come back, and we'll talk about the diaper dandies running backs. We'll go running backs, receiving, tight ends. I will be back after my game. So please tune in.